Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for kind of a little tongue-in-cheek video. I'm going to be working on something just so that there's something in the background, but I will occasionally be throwing things up on screen, so there is something for you to watch, or you can just listen and treat this like a whip and chat, even though that's not what this is. So, I am here today to talk about whether or not you or I are a real diamond painter. So, for people who are new to this hobby, gosh, the information that you get when you start diamond painting is just overwhelming. You are bombarded from all places with everyone's opinion and how you should do things and what tools you should buy and all that kind of stuff. And because there are so many companies to choose from, there's so many different kits, there's so many different tools, there's so many different accessories, there's a million different groups. It seems just like a never-ending parade of information. So let me zoom in so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, and then we'll start talking about how I started my diamond painting journey, and we'll talk about that expert advice. Be right back. When I first started my diamond painting journey, there were so many, like I said, experts out there, all kinds of advice, tips and tricks, and of course, their opinions on anything and everything diamond painting related. The thing is, opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one. So I thought it might be fun to kind of explore some of the things that those quote unquote experts, whatever you want to call them, experts, influencers, whatever, that those people will tell you to prove somehow that they are a real diamond painter or that they somehow know more than you do, because, of course, their opinion is always correct. I encourage everyone to take everything anyone says, including me, with a grain of salt. Yes, I have opinions on things, but I always try to approach it with the mindset that what works for me will not work for everyone. I am fully aware that I am not like everyone. And because of that, I'm going to work in ways that are not for everyone. Are there some things that we can have in common? Of course. But does that mean I'm going to do every single thing like everyone else? Of course it doesn't. Just like you won't do every single thing like everyone else either. So again, I thought it might be fun to kind of explore what some of those experts have said. Things that I have heard, I've read, or was told that I needed to do in order to be a real diamond painter. And these are in no particular order. I just kind of went and searched for topics that everyone seems to have an opinion about, especially when it comes to the world of diamond painting. I started out in my diamond painting journey, I think as many of us do, working on very small budget kits. I found diamond painting in 2020, looking for something to occupy all my time while I was on lockdown during the Rona, as the kids say. However, because we were at home, because things were crazy, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money jumping into a hobby that I wasn't sure I would even like. So I found a couple of inexpensive kits on Amazon. I bought them, tried them to see if I would like them. I did. And then from there, I just kind of started doing more and more kits. I probably spent 6 months working up from the small kind of mandala special drill kits that I'd bought on Amazon. Then I bought a larger round one that I made for my nephew. Then I bought a larger than that square one because I'd not done any squares up to that point and I wanted to try them and decided I liked it enough that I was willing to invest some money in it. Once I decided that I liked it and it was something that I would keep doing, I started looking at people on YouTube and following some diamond painting YouTubers, some of whom aren't even around anymore. And it was a lot of fun looking at all the pretty pictures and seeing all the cool things that people were doing. However, the very first thing I think that I kind of got hit over the head with is licensed versus unlicensed kits. I'll have to admit, I kind of was scratching my head at first because I didn't know that there was a difference. I think it was just one of those things that you, as a consumer, or at least I did, when you purchase something, you assume the company has licensed whatever it is that they're selling, or they wouldn't be allowed to sell it, right? Had I stopped to think about it beyond that, then probably I should have assumed that wasn't necessarily true, but that's just kind of where I was at. For instance, one of the first kits that I did was a round Avengers kit that I got from my nephew because he really loves the Avengers. I think I got it off of Amazon. It was just a round kit. It wasn't very good quality. It was very pixelated, but he loved it. And I enjoyed the process of doing it. But I didn't really stop to think about it's not licensed. I mean, I bought it from Amazon, and Amazon is an American company. Marvel is an American company. You'd think if there was an issue, something would be done, right? The flip side of that is also that's a lot of things for the company that owns the IP to keep track of, and so things slip through the cracks. Like I said, one of the things I was hit over the head with almost immediately was that you can't be a real diamond painter if you only work on budget kits. And let me preface this by saying I do think licensing is important. I do think that artists should be fairly compensated by companies that are using their work. But it's not as simple as it used to be anymore either. With the advent of AI art, previous to AI, it was a lot easier to tell whether or not a kit was licensed. I mean, once you were familiar with a particular artist, you could tell instantly that's a Mandy Manzano. That's a Hannah Lynn. That's a Jasmine Beckett Griffith. That's a Kurt Reichowitz. You could tell just by looking. It's not so easy anymore. You used to also be able to do like a reverse image search because there are all kinds of images that companies have taken off of DeviantArt and other art. I mean, even like Fine Art America, which is a place that sells fine art prints and also sells flags and blankets and things with those prints on them. They're copyrighted images, so if they just grab them off the website, that does not equal getting permission. However, with the advent of AI now, it's all but impossible to tell whether or not an image has been licensed. So that makes it even more difficult when you're talking about only real diamond painters only buy a licensed kit. Also, I think that fails to take into account that there are a lot of people who can't afford financially to spend 75 plus dollars on a premium kit. That being said, I'm not encouraging people to buy art that is copyright images. And regardless of what I say, regardless of what I personally think, regardless of what you personally think, those images and those websites are still going to be up and be popular. Most of them are run by companies who exist outside of American copyright laws. They're going to do whatever they want. And there are always going to be people who the money matters more than anything. If they can find a website where they can buy 15 kits for $5, that's what they're going to do, regardless of copyright. Is that right? But it's going to happen. That being said, there are other ways to get licensed kits that are not expensive. Diamond painting is becoming more and more popular all the time. When I first started out, basically, it was mostly online. I don't think I'd ever seen a diamond painting in a craft store before. Since I've started diamond painting, you can now get them at Joann's. Joann's carries Diamond Dots, Diamond Paintings, and sometimes Diamond Art Club. Hobby Lobby carries Diamond Art Club Diamond Paintings. Michael's used to carry Diamond Dots. They now carry their own brand called Make Market. You can get diamond paintings at Walmart. Heck, I've even seen diamond paintings at a Cracker Barrel. So you can find less expensive but licensed kits. You know, if you're talking about Hobby Lobby, you might be able to get it on sale and that would make it less expensive. You can also try and get things from D-Stash or resale groups. Sometimes people have too many kits or they just decide they don't want to do one, and you might be able to find it on sites like eBay or Mercari or something like that where somebody's trying to get rid of some things on Facebook, whatever, where they're trying to get rid of a stash that they don't need anymore, and you might be able to get some licensed diamond paintings for not very much money. So there are a ton of options out there. Yes, I encourage people to use licensed kits because I think that's the right thing to do. But I understand the financial reality for some people is that that just isn't feasible. If it were up to me, again, like I said, I would encourage everyone to somehow try and find a licensed kit, whether that means that you get something that's a make market that maybe isn't a premium brand, but their kits are still perfectly fine and lovely to work on. Or trying to get it on the resale market and find some that you can get for a song. The second thing I wanted to talk about is rounds versus squares. Everybody has an opinion on whether you should do rounds versus squares. I started out doing round drill kits just because that happened to be the one that I stumbled on first. Because at the time, I wasn't really aware of the difference. In fact, I don't even know if I knew there was a difference. I think probably 99% of the diamond paintings at that time when I was like looking on Amazon were either special shapes or they were round kits. I don't remember seeing any square kits. There's a difference between rounds and squares. Which one you prefer makes no difference. It's a matter of what you prefer. Like I said, I started with rounds, and I typically recommend if you're a new diamond painter that you start with rounds just because I think rounds are easier. There are people who disagree with me, and that's fine. I think rounds are easier for a couple of reasons. One, round drills are larger. Round drills are typically around 2.8 millimeters in diameter. Square drills are smaller. They are typically 2.5 millimeters. So because they're smaller, you have to place more of them, and that means it takes longer to complete. I think round drills are easier to place because the drills don't have to sit exactly right up against each other. I think it's a little bit easier to place the round drills than it is the square ones. When you're doing squares, they have to butt right up next to each other. So if you don't kind of get things placed correctly at the beginning of your row, it is very easy to kind of get them out of alignment and make things look not straight and a little bit off. I don't think with rounds that you have to be as precise in your placement as you do with squares. Again, with rounds, yes, they're touching each other on an edge, but they're not completely butted up to one another like squares are. And so I just feel like it makes it easier. And they go faster because, again, the drills themselves are bigger, the round drills are, than square drills. So they just go faster. Speed is not something that matters to everyone. But if you're someone who's new to the hobby and you're just trying to find out if it's something that you like, how much time are people willing to invest? Do they want to do a huge 100 centimeter by 100 centimeter kit that's going to take them months on end? By the time they finish something like that, they may end up hating it. Or would someone prefer to do a kit that's going to take them a couple of days worth of work and then discover, oh, you know what? I do really like this. Again, I recommend that beginners start with rounds, but it's completely up to you. If you want to start with the square because you think those look better, then do that. Squares, because they butt up against each other, cover more of the background. So you can see, hopefully a little bit on here, even with the drills placed, you can still see a bit of the background behind because the round drill does not cover every single portion of the section where I'm covering with the drill. With square drills, it does. So you see less of the background, and a lot of people feel like that makes the finished project look better because there's no colors peeking out from behind. I personally don't think it matters, but again, that's my personal opinion. So if you're not sure what you want to do, get one of each and try it, or just have a look around on the internet at various people's projects, rounds versus squares, and see if you think it makes a difference, and then purchase accordingly. So much of this, I think, gets presented as these experts telling you this is what you should do, when in reality, almost all of it is personal preference. Again, I think I lean more towards round because I can complete them more quickly than I can squares, and because I'm making content for YouTube, that speed matters to me. If I was just diamond painting for my own enjoyment and not filming anything, it probably wouldn't matter to me at all whether I did one or the other. I'm an equal opportunity diamond painter when it comes to rounds and squares. So experiment if you want and decide which one works for you. If you think you have a preference and you're not interested in trying the other side out, then don't. It's all up to you. Now this next one, I don't know if this is as relevant now as it was when I first started diamond painting, and that is the arguments over poured glue versus double-sided adhesive, or DSA. When I first started diamond painting, double-sided adhesive was much more common than it is now. And double-sided adhesive is just what it sounds like. It's a piece of double-sided tape. They print out the image onto the canvas fabric, and then they cover it with double-sided tape, essentially. And that's what the drills stick to. So that's originally how diamond paintings were made. However, double-sided adhesive can have all kinds of issues. It doesn't always have issues, but it can, and those issues sometimes can be very hard to overcome. It is very prone to creasing, and if they roll it and it gets any kind of smashed during transportation, that can cause a crease. That can cause the tape to separate from the canvas, and now you have air trapped underneath it, which can cause bubbles or rivers or creases, whatever. And double-sided adhesive is not very stable. It's very sensitive to temperature fluctuations, so that could cause issues too. Not to say that poured glue is perfect. It can have issues as well. Poured glue can have dry spots or thin spots where the glue was not heavy enough when they applied it, and so you might have trouble getting your drills to stick. All problems, just like the ones with double-sided adhesive, that you can solve, but poured glue tends to have less of them, and poured glue seems to be a bit more stable when it comes to temperature fluctuations. So diamond paintings having to come over on the boat from China, sit in a warehouse, be carted around in hot delivery vans or freezing cold delivery vans, the poured glue seems to weather the temperature fluctuations better than double-sided adhesive. And so double-sided adhesive has become a lot less common. It used to be that the more premium companies had poured glue and the less premium companies or the budget companies had double-sided adhesive. These days, even the budget companies, most of their kits are poured glue. So it's not as much of an issue as it used to be. You can still get some double-sided adhesive kits. The J-wall that I did earlier this year was a double-sided adhesive. It had been laying around in my stash for several years. And because of that, probably, even though it was in my house and it was kind of in a temperature controlled environment, it still sat around for a couple of years, and that caused some issues. I managed to fix all of them and I completed the project just fine, but it's probably things that I wouldn't have had to worry about if it had been a poured glue canvas. There are some other differences in working with them. Poured glue, you can sometimes slide your drills around. That's not in the right place. I'm going to slide it back to where it goes. You can't really do that with double-sided adhesive. It's tape. Once you put something down, it's pretty much stuck where it is. Sometimes there's a little give, but not much. And that's also one of the reasons people preferred the poured glue, because once you were done, oh, my drills aren't perfectly straight, I'm going to go back in with my straightener. With poured glue, you can move them around a bit. With the double-sided adhesive, not so much. Both kinds of adhesive work. Both kinds of kits are doable, so pick what you want. Odds are you're going to get poured glue these days. The next thing that I got all kinds of advice on was tools and accessories. So every diamond painting comes with your basic toolkit, your pink pen, your wax, and your little green boat. Can you complete a kit with just those? Absolutely you can, but they are not the most ergonomic of tools. You will see everywhere people touting fancy custom pens, steel tips, specialty 3D printed trays, scented putties and wax. Oh, and let's not forget the washi tape collections. You need fancy this and fancy that. If you were to look on Instagram, gosh, everything has to be matched and thematic, right? Clutch your pearls if that's not the case. I am just not one of those people that is ever worried about stuff like that. If I happen to have something on hand that matches, then cool. But like my washi tape for this kit, I didn't have any Halloween themed washi tape, so I just used this green triangle. I felt like it worked. There's green in my kit, there's green in my washi tape, I'm good to go. Would it have been maybe a little more cute if I had had matching washi tape? Maybe. So if I'm working on a Halloween kit, I need Halloween themed washi tape. I need a custom Halloween themed diamond painting pen. I need a cute little Halloween themed cover minder. And let's not forget my pumpkin spice scented putty, right? Throw it all in a pick and everyone is like, oh, well, she must be a real diamond painter because look at how good all of that matches. Now, This is all kind of tongue in cheek. I love looking at pics that are like that. I just am not one of those people. I do not have themed pens that match things. I do not have themed cover minders. I don't have Halloween washi tape, that kind of thing. You don't need fancy everything. It does make for some really cool pics, but don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to have this pin or you have to have this tip or you have to have this tray. It might be an improvement over the basic toolkit, but you don't have to have it, right? I've had a lot of fun over the years trying out new tools. I've tried all kinds of trays. I've tried all kinds of pens. I've tried all kinds of cover minders and things like that. I've tried different kinds of waxes and putties, but they don't have to be expensive. After all of my experimenting with all the different waxes and putties, for instance, I use glue dots and museum putty, two of the most inexpensive things you can get to fill your pen. And they work for me, and I love them, and I probably will never use anything else. So just know again that you can complete your diamond painting with the tools that come with it. If you want to get fancier and you can afford it, awesome. But don't feel bad if you don't. The next thing that everyone told me I needed to get, and people still do, because of course, there's always something new coming out, right? There's always a new tray, a new pen, a new tip, a new putty, a new storage system. And after trying all kinds of different storage systems, I have kind of settled on two. There are very inexpensive things out there. You can make your own. Heck, some of the kits come with the drills in baggies. Stick the stickers on your baggies so you know what drills go with what symbol, and you're good to go. You don't even have to use a storage system if you don't want to. But of course, all of the experts, you need this, that, or the other, right? I tried all kinds of different things. My recommendation is for you to look at something. If it looks like something that you might like and it fits within your budget, then go for it. I personally have pretty much pared down all of the storage that I've had over the years to just my bottle cases. I love my bottles and my Elizabeth Ward storage. I tend to work on larger kits, so I need storage that can accommodate 50 plus colors because that's typically what I get in my diamond paintings. I like the Elizabeth Ward because it's modular and that lets me kind of customize to a particular kit how I need to use it. Do I need a bunch of very tiny trays? Do I need some of the extra large trays? How am I going to configure all of this? And I have the ability to do that rather than like with a bottle case, all of my bottles are the same size. But again, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can get all kinds of things that you can use as containers. I've even seen people using like plastic condiment cups that you can get at Walmart or any grocery store and using those as drill containers. Whatever works for you and your budget is what you should do. Again, if you have the budget for it and you want to splurge, then do that. But just know that you don't need to try every kind of product out there under the sun to enjoy this hobby. If your budget allows for it and you want to try something, go for it. That's how I learned what I liked and what I didn't. It's all personal preference. So what's the next thing experts often told me? Well, not only did I need a custom pen, but I needed to learn how to multi-place. Single placing is not where it's at. Remember that a lot of these experts, quote unquote, are people who have YouTube channels and are producing content for YouTube. For those of us who have YouTube channels, quantity does matter because you need content. And working on a diamond painting, finishing a diamond painting, starting a new diamond painting, all of those are content that you can put on the channel. But unless you just want an endless series of whips that never ever get finished, which I suppose could happen, how would I know? You need to get a little bit faster at it, which means you need to multi-place. If you are a diehard single placer and that is your happy place, awesome. Like I said, I multi-place because I need to be faster because I need to produce content. If I didn't need to do that, would I single place everything? No, probably not. I think my own lack of patience just in my personality, I probably would still learn to multi-place just because it does go faster. And there's a million awesome diamond paintings out there and I want to do as many as I can, right? So multi-placing. If you want to use a multi-placer, then go for it. Multi-placers do have a learning curve. It took me quite some time to get comfortable with them and figure out what I liked, what I didn't, kind of where my sweet spot was for the size of multi-placer and so forth. So be ready to experiment. Multiplacers are not expensive. You can experiment with the plastic ones. Those are super cheap. And multiplacers come in a big range of sizes from 2 all the way up to, I think 15 is the largest that I've ever seen. However, I have small hands. I am not a tall person, so I do not have very large hands. And having tried a 15, I can tell you that does not work for me. It's too big for my hands. I don't feel like I have enough control and I don't like it. When I was learning how to multiplace, my sweet spot was the 4 with the plastic ones. However, since I have upgraded to metal multiplacers, I have some from Everlasting Tips and I've also bought some from Diamond Art Club. Usually I'm working with anywhere from a 6 to a 10 placer. This particular one is a 10 placer, I think. But I can pick up multiple drills. If I'm using this 10 placer, I can pick up anything from 1 all the way to 10 with this multiplacer and use it comfortably. So for instance, if you're using a 4 placer, you don't only have to pick up 4 drills. You could pick up 1 drill, 2 drill, 3 drills, 4 drills. Again, there is a learning curve to using multiplacers. And as you're learning, that can mean that you spend a lot more time kind of fussing with your drills, moving them into the place where they need to go, aligning them, that sort of thing, using a straightener. And some people just don't want to mess with that. But it can be a handy skill to have. And it does let you complete things more quickly, like I said. So if you want to learn how to use it, if you're happy single placing, awesome, do that. After I had been diamond painting for a while, after I'd had the YouTube channel for a while, I started paying a little bit more attention. I was a little more active in some groups and hearing things from people on various social media, that kind of thing. You start hearing certain artist names all the time. Some artists happen to be talked about more than others because they're tied to events. Some are just very popular in the diamond painting community. And so you just end up hearing a lot of names. And it gets to the point where, well, you've never done a Chuck Pinson? What? You've never done a Josephine Wall? And artists tend to come and go as favorites too. When I very first started diamond painting, the most popular artist I think was Mandy Manzano because she was doing her Disney series from Diamond Art Club. So Mandy Manzano was popular for a while. There are still people that are popular. Chuck Pinson is very popular. Josephine Wall is very popular. Hannah Lynn is very popular. Jasmine Beckett Griffith was another one that was very popular when I very first started diamond painting. And so you start to feel like, well, everybody's talking about these. I need to do a kit by these people just to see what the fuss is about, right? Can I call myself a real diamond painter if I've never done a Chuck Pinson? Now, I will admit I have done kits by all of these people. I've done a Mandy Manzano. I've done a Hannah Lynn. I've done a Chuck Pinson. I've done a couple of Josephine Walls, and I enjoyed all of them. Probably the Hannah Lynn a little less so than others because I had 11 bags of 310. But I do think this is a little bit of FOMO as well. I think people look at it as one, these artist kits tend to be more premium companies, which maybe not everyone can financially access. So there's a bit of the FOMO about that. Also, I think there's just lots of people are talking about this particular artist, and there are different artists who are popular right now. But I think it all goes back to kind of that fear of missing out. Oh, I need to do one of these. I did a Jasmine Beckett Griffith kit that I actually bought one because it was Jasmine Beckett Griffith, but I also bought it because it was booked themed. It was an Edgar Allan Poe reference to the image, and it was fine. I enjoyed the process of it. However, after completing it, I discovered that her style of the very pale-faced, huge-eyed, rest of their features very small faces was not something I enjoyed. I enjoyed doing the diamond painting, but probably will never do another kit by her because it just isn't my jam. I much rather focus on whatever appeals to me. So that's my advice to you. Skip the FOMO and just work on kits that have an image that appeals to you. If you like gothic and dark things, there's artists out there for that. If you like colorful or cartoon type images, which is kind of where I land a lot of times, there's tons of those. If you like landscapes, there's a million of those out there. If you like something that's more monochromatic palette wise, whatever it is, there's a diamond painting out there for you. You just have to find it. But don't get so focused on it's got to be this, that, or the other artist, because unless you like that particular style of artist's work, It doesn't really matter. And it's always hit or miss. Like, for instance, the Spangler dragons. Those seem to be very split. You either love them or you hate them. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between. I personally think they're adorable, but I can understand why other people don't like them. So do what you like. After I'd been diamond painting for a while, I had been seeing people who were doing kits where they were using their spare drills to do these particular kits. There are companies out there that sell just the canvases, so you need the drills to come from somewhere. And I get asked this question all the time by people who are kind of new to the hobby. Why do I save my spare drills? You don't have to. You absolutely do not have to. If you have no interest in organizing spare drills, in doing projects that don't come with drills that you need to source from somewhere, whatever, then you don't have to. Buy your kits, do your kits, throw away the leftovers, and be done with it. However, if you're going to be doing a lot of diamond paintings, which I knew I was going to be because I had the YouTube channel, there are times when you run out of drills. Even with some of the premium companies, you can run out. Now, most companies have a policy that if you run out, they will send you replacement drills, which is awesome. However, as I've said many times, I'm not a patient person. So waiting for replacement drills to come to me so that I can finish a project is often just a wait that I'm not willing to do. For instance, if I run out of drills on a kit that's a premium company, I can contact them, they can send me the drills. Sometimes the drills are located within the US and it doesn't take very long, but for the few times that I've actually had drills sent to me, it can take a couple of weeks because if they don't have extras on hand, they might have to contact the manufacturer in China, and then you have to wait for everything to ship to China. And it may not ship from China directly to you. It may have to go from China to the company and then to you, which makes the wait even longer. So I started saving my spare drills. Like I said, there are companies like Heaven and Earth Designs. Heaven and Earth Designs is basically like a cross stitch company, but because they do cross stitch, they kind of crossed over into diamond paintings, but they only sell the canvases. They do not sell a kit with all the drills and everything. So you have to source your drills from somewhere. And I watched a lot of people do videos on how basically they sourced all of the drills for a project from their spares. They just saved all of their spare drills and then used them on one of these canvases. You can buy the drills from somewhere else if you want to, but you can use your spares as well. Also, there are so many different kinds of drills these days compared to when I started. There were always special drills like to complete mandalas and things like that. You know, the drills that are shaped like stars or marquee cut, or the ones that are shaped like flowers, special shape drills. And there were ABs and crystals or rhinestones, whatever you call them. These days, you have glow in the dark, you have glitter, you have jelly drills, you have slivers, you have cubes, I mean, there's just a shape of drill. If you can name it, it probably exists. Oh, and let's not forget the mica drills, whether you call them pixie dust or fairy dust or whatever you want to call them, that are becoming really popular. So lots of people will have spare drill storage. And I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how I wanted mine to work and setting it all up. I'll stick a link up in the corner to that video if you want to check it out. But some sort of storage system to keep your spare drills. I keep them because I like to keep the ABs. I do a lot of blinging. I keep my extra fairy dust, mica drills, whatever. I buy extra drills sometimes for specific kits that I want to bling out, that sort of thing. So I have spare drill storage. And if I have a kit that has really good drills, it's like most of my Diamond Art Club's Craftably drills, I will save any leftovers so that I can use them in another kit. I still have 2 Heaven and Earth Design canvases that I do not have drills for that someday I will complete. So I keep all my spares. But again, do what works for you. Just because all the experts out there are telling you that it's a good practice to have spare drills on hand doesn't mean you have to do it. Like I said, if you're somebody who just completes a kit and then you want to move on and you don't want to fuss with all the extra stuff, then you do you. This hobby shouldn't be about making anyone happy but you. Just a couple more. As I was going through my diamond painting journey, I watched people adding bling to a kit or altering a kit. Usually the thing that you see the most is people adding bling, and that is adding ABs. Again, when I very first started diamond painting, really the only specialty drills out there that came in typical kits were ABs. And ABs are just drills, regular drills that have an iridescent coating applied that makes them kind of extra shiny. Like I said, these days there's all kinds of different drills. The mica drills, the fairy dust, pixie dust drills are hugely popular right now. And I have to admit, they're quickly becoming my favorite, even over and above ABs. But adding bling, for me, it's been pretty simple. I sub in using the DMC. So if I have mica drills, for instance, this is DMC 350. If I had mica drills that were DMC 350, I would sub them in just because I wanted to. Would they maybe match exactly perfectly? Maybe not, but odds are by the time you back away to viewing distance, you won't be able to tell anyway. So that's typically how I sub. And I sub based on how many drills I have. For instance, in this particular kit, subbing my pixie dust drills, I have a ton of this, so I can sub 1-to-1. This gray color, I don't have a lot of these left, and if I had a lot of gray drills, I would not substitute 1-to-1, I would just sprinkle them in randomly. So I get some of the extra sheen from the ABs, but I'm not replacing every single drill with the AB drill. So for me, it just depends on what I have on hand. I just jumped in with both feet and started doing substitution. There's other people who will argue that the ABs don't exactly match and it looks weird and all that kind of stuff. For me personally, these are my diamond paintings. I never think it matters enough that I go back and pick anything off. But again, that's up to you. I've never done anything where I've substituted it and then at the end of it thought, oh, that somehow ruined the kit. But there's always a first time. You can also, if you don't feel brave enough to kind of figure out where you want to stick things, you can buy bling kits. I don't know what they're called. I think they're called enhancement kits, actually. At DP with Sparklers, where I've bought a lot of ABs and pixie dust drills and that kind of thing, they basically have gone through and purchased a kit from Diamond Art Club or Craftably or Dreamer Designs or someplace like that, and then they have made enhancements. And because they are a company who sells all of those drills and ABs and enhancements and the fancy colors and shapes and all that, they make a kit of, if you're going to do this diamond painting, here's all the substitutions that they made with the drills included in that kit, and then they just ship it to you and you follow their instructions on how to substitute everything in, and at the end of it, it should look good because they've already done it and you can see what it looks like. Again, if you're just working on a kit the way that it came, awesome. Nothing else is required. You're still a real diamond painter, right? Do what makes you happy. If you want to sub in special drills, do it. If you're afraid that you're somehow going to mess something up and you're uncomfortable, then don't. It's that simple. The last thing that I wanted to talk about that the quote unquote experts will tell you and that they have tons of opinion on and that they have tons of opinions on are what you do when you're done. Do you seal your diamond painting? How do you store it? How do you frame it? For me in particular, and probably for a lot of us who do a lot of kits, most of them get stored in portfolios. I have 3 different sizes of portfolios because I do so many diamond paintings. I mean, I literally could use diamond paintings as wallpaper if I was going to put every single kit that I did up, especially over the years that I've been diamond painting. I don't have the wall space for that, and I wouldn't do that even if I did. There are certain things that I will frame and hang. There are certain things that I will frame and give away to people. And you can do it inexpensively. You can buy a frame, you can make a frame, you can make a frame out of washi tape, you can buy cheap magnetic frames, you can make a frame out of duct tape. There's a million different options that you can do. I get asked all the time, what do I use to seal my diamond paintings? My answer is I don't. Again, experts have lots of opinions. I've seen all kinds of videos about people trying all kinds of different things to seal a diamond painting. To me, it's a lot of extra work for not a lot of value. If I'm going to frame a diamond painting, why am I sealing it? It's going to be behind glass or acrylic or whatever and enclosed within a frame. As long as my diamond painting is clean going in, I'm not going to get a bunch of dirt and dust and animal dander and whatever else is floating around your house underneath the frame. Some might get in there, but not enough that it's going to make a difference. I finished my Diana a couple of years ago. She's been hanging on my wall since. She looks just as good now as she did the day I hung her up. I mean, the frame gets dusty, sure, but it's framed and it's sealed in there pretty tightly. So it's not like you're blowing all of the dirt and dust inside your home with a fan directly onto your diamond painting, right? It's going behind something that's going to protect it. So if I'm framing something, I'm not sealing it. The other thing is, for me, if I'm not going to frame it, then it's probably going into a portfolio. which also means, once again, it's going into some kind of protective sleeve, which means that it's going to be locked away from dirt, dust, dander, and all of those things. It's going to be in a protective sleeve. So I don't need to worry about things getting dirty or covered in hair or whatnot. It's enclosed in something that's going to keep it clean. So I don't need to worry about sealing it. There have been a few things that I've sealed. Also, something to remember is that for a lot of diamond paintings, sealing your diamond painting voids the warranty. So if you have sealed your diamond painting and then at some point drills fall off or something like that, then you have no way to replace it if you haven't saved your drills, because the company will not provide you with anything if it's been sealed. Also, reselling often voids the warranty. So if you're getting diamond paintings off the secondhand market, the resale market, just be aware that voids the warranty as well. I have sealed things that were going to be out and used or handled. Like, I have a box that I store some diamond painting things in, and I sealed that because it gets handled a lot, and I didn't want to accidentally knock off the diamond paintings or the diamond drills. Something like a bookmark that's going to get handled a lot, I would probably seal that because it's going to get handled and you don't want the drills to fall off. But for a diamond painting, I typically wouldn't be worried about that, and so I'm not going to seal it. I know there are people who, it's not really framing it, but will put finished canvases. They'll stretch a finished diamond painting over like an artistic canvas or something, like a blank canvas, or over a wood frame so that the drills are exposed. If you're going to frame it and hang it that way, it's not really a frame, but if you're going to mount it that way and then display it on the wall, then that you might want to seal. But for me, again, typically it's either in a portfolio or it's behind something protective inside a frame. And so I just don't bother with sealing it. To me, that seems like an extra step that just is a lot of unnecessary time I don't want to waste. But again, you do whatever makes sense to you. If it makes you feel better to seal it, and that somehow means that you feel like the drills are going to stick better, stay where they're supposed to better, whatever, do whatever you want to do. I just don't have a lot of recommendations on what to use because I don't typically seal mine. I'm kind of a rebel like that, just like I'm a rebel who doesn't use a light pad. You would be amazed at the number of people who are just absolutely aghast and horrified that I don't use a light pad. But that's what works for me. So I'm going to buck the trend and I'm not going to use one because it makes more sense to me. What do I think makes you a real diamond painter? We've just gone over kind of 10 different things that experts will tell you that you should do, must do in order to be a real diamond painter. In my opinion, there's really only one thing that identifies you as a real diamond painter. Any guesses on what that might be? Pause the video, leave me a comment down below. What's the one thing that makes you a real diamond painter? I'll wait. Actually, there's two things, now that I think about it, that make you a real diamond painter. One, you did a diamond painting. Congrats, you're a real diamond painter. Two, and this one is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's also very true. Have you ever found diamond drills stuck in weird places? Stuck on your face, your finger, your arm, the bottom of your foot, in your shower, in your bed? If so, congrats, you are a real diamond painter. All of us who do diamond paintings have at one point or another found diamond drills stuck in weird places. I've even had one of mine show up in my sun shower, which is a room I rarely go in. So, in all seriousness, it's fine to listen to experts and learn about new products, new techniques, new tricks, etc. But remember, even experts can make mistakes. And I can't emphasize this enough. What works for one person may not work for you. Everybody is different, and what is a must-have for one person might be an absolute deal breaker for someone else. Like me, like I said, I've had so many people tell me that I should use a light pad. I've tried it. I do not like it. It does not work for me. Therefore, I don't use it. Like I said, I've tried a lot of different things over my last, gosh, almost 4 years now of diamond painting. Some worked for me and some didn't. If you want to know which ones I regret buying, check out this video over there, because there are certainly things that did not work for me. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of this video. I hope this was entertaining, informative, helpful, again, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but remember, even experts can make mistakes. Before you leave, guys, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.